I've heard that a lot of women are concerned that if they do a little bit of weights, all of a sudden they'll be jacked and they don't want to look too muscular. Men work their bottoms off for years to look a little bit more muscular. Is that true or is it a myth?
Is it true that women think that?
Yeah.
I think a majority, there is a large population of women that do think that. So you try to debunk that in the fact that
it's a barbell and you just
boom,
come up, right?
Oh, if we only could do that. And I'm probably a very good myth debunker because I lift a lot. And I lift I don't lift as heavy as I used to always lift because I find I don't need to. And it takes me a lot to build some extra muscle. So I always tell my ladies, it takes so much time to bulk up to the point where someone's gonna maybe not think you're female.
Who are you? What do you do in life and why should people listen to you?
First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Jody Barrett. I always like to start off with when people ask me who I am like. I am this driven, passionate, quirky person. I think my characteristics define me more than my roles do. I got lost in roles a long time ago, so I'm very aware of that. I started KB Stronger, launched it actually in 2023 out of another brand, and it evolved through understanding my journey and the process of people's journey with their physical fitness, that if they're really going to tap into that element of their training and being successful, that mindset is deeply interwoven and part of the key to your success.
And you mixing kettlebell and martial arts. That's like a picture in my head when I'm picturing people doing karate kicks, holding kettlebells. Is that the right way of thinking about that?
That's often the thought process that goes through people, and then we have to reset that. A lot of the martial art motions that are pulled in are, martial arts are so great for the discipline behind them and the mobility in the movement. So what I normally do is you find mobility movements that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really great with that. And it's just the discipline behind it and just meshing everything together.
How does one do that just after the pandemic? Was that a factor?
Oh, yeah, actually, that was a huge pivot point for me because we were in person and then it kicked me online. I went online and it opened up this whole new world of people that I could train and I can hang out with. And yeah, it was a door opening for me versus thinking about it as a door closing for sure. And again, it takes a lot of practice to even be able to go to that mindset, right? Learning how to positively look at something.
100%. Did you feel like it changed how people look at that? Where people became more aware of, okay, maybe I should invest in that a little bit more after basically being stuck at home for what felt like forever?
I think it changed the people that were ready to change. You have to be aware enough to understand your own evolution through that. You'll either change or you won't. Like when you're going through life, whether you look at, if you're looking for something positive, you'll find it. If you're looking for something negative, you'll equally find it. So it's just starting to train what you're searching for.
Wow, okay, so we're like 3 minutes in and we already have like a t-shirt material there of that. Which, whatever you're looking for, you will find it.
All right.
Okay. All right, so there is statistically about 90% chance that a person listening to this is working in a tech adjacent field. So I want to make sure that we end up with some value for them that's a little bit more actionable than you should do good things for yourself because
Absolutely.
There's plenty of that. And I was hoping that you can help me with that. Where would you start? And maybe a little detour here. For somebody like me who's worked my entire career in tech, there's basically these groups of people. There is those people who are like super into fitness and they climb Monday through Friday, then they run a marathon on the weekend and grate cheese on their abs. That's always a population. Then there's the population that kind of tried a lot of things and couldn't really stick to that, and they're like in the middle. Like they're not unhealthy, they're not super sporty either, but they're doing fine. These days, like majority of the population. And then there are people who are just like not interested in health altogether, and that might be the stereotypical group of people there. How do we get them to do something actionable for these three groups of people? What's your advice?
All right, so your first population that is very unmotivated to do anything, I would say you need a start. And when we start, we want to keep it simple and we want to keep it obtainable. As simple as thinking about how you can complete your success. So I'll break it down into an idea of you're at a desk all the time. Your gym that you've been trying to go to that you're not motivated to, you don't really like to go there, you're not very successful. Because I do kettlebell, I'll say, placing a bell beside your desk does two things. It's a great paperweight and it's great for the door, but it also is visually present. So someone who wants to get started but has the excuse, I don't want to drive to the gym, I don't want to go there, you remove the obstacles. That's how you're starting to create your own success. So by putting, it doesn't have to be a big heavy weight, but a start weight in your vision or in your space so that you're constantly seeing it. So that can help that person motivate. Maybe it's learning one movement, whether that's a squat. My preference is a swing because you're sitting on your butt all day. You want to get your glutes activated. But honestly, anything is better than nothing. So that's what I'd always recommend to someone in that category. Just keeping it simple as having something nearby that you see it. It's always in your mind's eye that it's there. Your middle population probably is going to be ready for a little bit more. Maybe they want more of a plan, right, to help execute. But the idea behind it is for each level is going to be at different stages. So you want to stack your habits. So I always say, if you come to me and you do the 12-week program, people will say, what am I going to eat? They have all these questions, which is great. And I have questions where I always say, ask as much as you want. But I'm always resetting and saying, we're just going to start to move. And honestly, the first week you start, even for different tiers, it'll be different for your people who you can grate cheese on their abs and they're going to go climb a mountain because they already have tapped into, they know how it makes them feel. They get the benefit of it. They're already there. But your other population, you want to keep it simple for them. Because as we know, simple things are hard, but as humans, we tend to pile on so much and we overcomplicate things. And when we overcomplicate things, we often fail.
And why do you think we do that? Like, why do people want to go all in? And the typical example I've seen a million times is someone goes and typically gets a subscription of men's and or women's health, then sets up an impossible routine that involves things like Superman lifts and Hollywood that and applying this. Then they try to do that for a few months. They don't really see that much of a difference and they give up. Why is it so much more popular to do that rather than start simple?
I think it's been just what we have had out in society of you go hard or go home kind of mentality.
Another t-shirt material.
Right? Go hard or go home. And then we have failure. And then I just had a couple clients sign up and I'm like, what's your biggest challenge? And they're like, I always fail. Just sitting down and making it simple so you succeed. That might be saying, let's just look at 1 week. Get 1 week in. And another thing is we're very judgmental. I always say your first weekend, I just want you to do it. Try to do it without criticizing, critiquing everything, which is super hard.
Is this also the case that it's much harder to package and market this? Just do something and get started humble rather than buy this amazing supplement and my amazing signature trademarked kettlebell, by the way, missed opportunity for you, should have advertised those. Is that part of the problem?
It is hard to advertise that part of it because everybody wants a quick fix. Everybody wants to lose weight, or a large population wants to lose weight. And that's not a bad thing to market weight loss to them. My hope and my goal is when you come into the program and you hang out with me that you like this idea of weight loss is still there in your mind, but you're so wowed with the fact that your mobility's improved, your strength's improved, you feel better, you sleep better, you almost forget why you started. In a sense, because you come in with this. I had a client once, she came for weight loss, and a couple of months in, I never actually understood what it meant to be strong. She goes, I had no concept of what that feeling inside felt like. And again, makes marking a little bit more challenging because people are often not looking necessarily for that, but they're looking for the weight loss, the muscle gain, all those, which are all great, but there's so much more if you're willing to peel back the layers and spend some time.
Which reminds me, and I want to confirm that with you, I've heard that a lot of women are concerned that if they do a little bit of weights, all of a sudden they'll be jacked and they don't want to look too muscular. Men work their bottoms off for years to look a little bit more muscular. Is that true or is it a myth?
Is it true that women think that?
Yeah.
I think a majority, there is a large population of women that do think that. So you try to debunk that in the fact that
it's barbell and you just poof,
boom,
become Iron Man, right?
Oh, if we only could do that. And I'm probably a very good myth debunker because I lift a lot, and I lift I don't lift as heavy as I used to always lift because I find I don't need to, and it takes me a lot to build some extra muscle. So I always tell my ladies, it takes so much time to bulk up to the point where someone's gonna maybe not think you're female.
Exactly. Okay, so let's go back to what you said. You said, just do something and start something. And I think that's good advice, but it's also very hard to implement because you don't know what you should be doing. At the beginning especially, you have no idea whether what you're doing is right. You do have some newbie gains typically, which is great to motivate you, but there's this risk of doing something for a few weeks, didn't really change all that much and giving up. What's the second step in that chain of events that needs to happen so that you don't get demotivated?
I think finding and sticking with a program. People tend to jump around a lot because of that exact reason, because they're I'm not seeing results, so they jump ship already. And the reality is it does take some time to see results. A lot of people are too impatient to see results and they stop. I always use this theory. And a lot of people, when I have this conversation with them, they're like, it's just not what I wanted to hear, is if you come to me and you say, Jody, I've been sitting on a couch for 4 years and I haven't done anything. And I'm like, so you've deconditioned yourself for 4 years. So if you really want to put an honest time frame on it, I'm going to say, give yourself 4 years. To get
want to hear that though.
No, I know, but habitually, because they want to see where you'll get gains. I'm not saying in 4 years, it takes you 4 years to get the gains that you want to make, but 4 years to where, think about it, where you get up and brush your teeth and you don't think about brushing your teeth and you've already went to the kitchen and done something else and you haven't even you don't actually even really remember brushing your teeth because it's such a habit.
Yeah.
So if you're there's a difference if we want to talk about what does that look like to make your weight loss, your 3 months, 6 months, but if you want to look at what you're having a lifestyle change, it takes time, and maybe not that long a time, but just to remind people that you've let your body be conditioned for so long and your mind equally, how you think, and it's going to take some time, but it's 100% worth the time and effort to find a program that works, find a supportive community that's there to help guide you.
Any tips for new parents asking for a friend?
Oh, new parents?
Don't. Yeah, for someone who's chronically underslept and who
right?
hasn't
There
worked
you
out
go.
properly in 6 months and feels like they have time for nothing, but they kind of miss their old self, rigorous and going to the gym on a regular basis.
I actually just had a client that came back online and she just had a baby, and then I noticed it popped up that her subscription had canceled. And I reached out to her and I was like, hey, what's going on? And then we had a really honest conversation, and that was what it was about. She's like, I don't have the time to do what I did. And I said, you don't have to do what you used to do because you're in a different phase right now. So for her, it was, we just chatted and she switched from 45-minute workouts to jumping in and doing a 10-minute workout, a 5-minute mobility session, finding smaller amounts and having that really honest conversation with yourself that right now, as you're 6 months old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where sleep is huge, right? If you need to get sleep, I'm like, take sleep, do a 10-minute workout when the window opens up to do it, and just know that it will come back around when you have. I just had a mom, she's got 2 little ones at home, and they're literally, she'll send me videos, they're working out with her. And she was like, they got their pretend little kettlebells, the little plastic ones, and again, she went through that phase too where she's, I just can't get 45 minutes in because we have a 45-minute session on there too. And I'm like, stop doing 45. I said, do 10, do the 10s or the 15s. And she did that for 3 months, and then she just said, look, now the boys are a little bit older, they go do this, I'm able to go back into that. So it's just understanding that there's phases in everybody's life too. So you have to just pivot a little bit. Be gracious to yourself.
I feel like it's easier for me to go through like the whole ritual and go there for a full hour and the whole thing rather than finding the 15 minutes here and there. It's counterintuitive, but somehow when I'm mentally preparing for that, I've got my entire plan and I just execute. It's much easier for me to do than, like I said, finding the smaller intervals here and there. Are people like that, or am I just a weirdo?
No, I think, everybody is finding about what works for you, right? So what works for you might not work for somebody else. And if you are able to go set up that hour time where you get to have specifically that hour for you, I think that's great because you're able to go and shut your brain off from the outer world, tune into your workout, zone in your workout, and take that time. It's just whether the big key is actually knowing what works for you. And a lot of people have to figure that part out.
Yeah, plus the downside is that if for whatever reason the plan falls through, the earlier in the day something happens, the rest of the day is basically out of whack. So that's the problem with routines like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel a little bit better. Thank you, Joe.
I always say it's okay to miss 1 workout, 2 workouts. It becomes a habit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's like with chocolate, right? Once you've had a third of it, then suddenly it's like half, and then so I might as well finish the whole bar. I was not good today. There's a lot of psychology.
Right? There is
like
so
that
much. Yes.
Yeah. One of the other things that I think I saw you somewhere on social media saying was being the biggest cheerleader. And again, t-shirt material, so I'm hoping that you're taking notes and that's going to become available in your merch store.
Right?
What's that about? And why is it not just a cheesy slogan?
There's so many slogans or sayings that I heard when I was a kid that I'm quite confident I rolled my eyes at, and then as I got older I was like, oh, maybe they were right. But for that one, it's like it's important to start to hone that skill on being your biggest cheerleader. It's great to have people around you that support you, but there's going to be moments, I think, in most of our lives where maybe that's not available to us easily. You got to work on being true to your word is one of the things that I've cultivated over the years. And I think it's the greatest gift you can give yourself. That's why I always say set an attainable goal. Maybe it's just for the week or maybe it's for the day, but you can start so small where it's like, today I'm gonna do 25 squats. They break them up, whatever you need to do. Literally, I'm like, simplify it that much so that you get it done and you go, good, I did it. That's true to my word. Now you can pat yourself on the back because you did it. So then you stack that. You don't have to go get crazy and keep like all of a sudden you've got 4 hours stuck in your day of doing things, but it's little techniques like that where you start learning how to change that internal dialogue so that you are becoming your own cheerleader. You're learning how to show up for you. I don't know, sometimes I'm like, how can you show up for everybody in your space when you promised yourself you would go for a walk and have a mental reset yesterday? And you can't do those things for yourself. So eventually, I say this only by true knowledge that I walk the road of not being true to my word. Most of the things that I think I probably learned everything the hard way 3 times. So when I speak on it, I speak from my heart, from my mind, that it's stuff that I've practiced over and over. And finding that internal dialogue to show up for yourself is such an incredible space to take yourself into.
Why did they not teach that at school? Why do I remember random days from my history lessons and not that?
I know, right? I have this conversation with my youngest is 19, and I'm like, I said, you're going to be such a rock star when you're 50, because we have these conversations now, right? Hopefully you're having them with your children if you're there yourself, but it's just communicating. And I think too, I think you're right. Like in school, the place where we're getting socialized, our children get socialized, like why not spend some time there?
So for anybody who's listening now and is at this magical space now where they feel vaguely motivated, and you said the right things that start easy and go with an easy program, let's make it super easy for them to get started in doing something. Can you give us 3 steps, a name, program or whatever that you would do for somebody who is in the middle group there? They tried some things, didn't really work out. They're not like at the risk of diabetes yet, but they want to be a bit healthier. Let's make it super obvious for them.
For them, I would get a program that you could sign up with and stick with, and one that you get connection from, because everybody needs a support system, especially when you're new trying something out. And if you failed at it and you failed again, guess what you're learning is that not that you're a failure, you're learning that you need help in that pathway. So your takeaway from that is, I failed, but I tried, but now I want to try again, but how do I be successful? So getting a program where there's a touch point or help, or maybe whether you're into a group fitness or online, right? So with mine, you would go, let's say, do the 12-week program. You connect with me either every week or every other week, where it's like a call, I see you, you see me, and then I don't even have to, we don't have even say many words, and I know if you've trained last week or not, because it'll be all over your face, right? So it's just like finding something that makes you accountable. That's what I would do with your middle group.
Okay, so step 1, find your accountability group. Find a coach, find a group, find something. Step 2, commit to 12 weeks.
Yep.
Do it for 12 weeks. And step 3?
Step 3 is set goals for yourself. Obtainable goals. But these are goals that you can use, you can have conversation with your accountability person so that they can rein you in or ask you to open up your mind a little bit further.
And for anybody who maybe isn't ready to commit to a personal trainer program, are there any things they can grab from the internet that works?
I would recommend walking.
Walking?
I know, right? Isn't that the bizarrest thing for me to recommend to you?
Wow, walking.
Yeah, go outside, get some fresh air. Practice walking, maybe with music, and then practice no music and being present with everything around you.
How much walking are we talking?
Today, I was going to run before I came on here with you, and my time was running shorter, so I went for 1, 2, 3, 4, I went 5 blocks.
5 blocks.
Yep.
And that's enough to make something happen?
Yeah, it's a start. Just move your body. If you consistently walked and went outside, I think people would be surprised, because most people, when I say to them, start walking, they're like, they laugh at me and look at me like I'm fallen from this foreign planet, because they're like, why not swing a kettlebell? Because I think that's what I'd take them first. But if you're really just getting started, walk. It's simple, right? Simple things are hard. And because they're so simple, It's like people can't wrap their head around it. But I'm telling you, do simple things and you can feel extraordinary from doing simple things.
Wow, there we go. Another quote. You can feel extraordinary from doing simple things.
Yeah.
Jody, absolute pleasure talking to you. I wish I listened to stuff like that, the younger me, and hopefully that helps some people. kbstronger.com, is that where people go find you?
Correct, yes.
Where on social media can they follow you?
Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Do they look for KB Stronger or Jody Barrett?
KB Stronger, Jody Barrett also on Instagram. Both kind of intertwine.
There you go, folks. You know where to go now. You know where to find Jody. Jody, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.